Steph for the win. Yes, sir!
The final minutes and seconds of games in the 2021 to 2022 season of the National Basketball Association were expected to include a larger number of dramatic moments than in prior seasons. As a result of the fans going completely insane, there's a palpable sensation of energy and excitement that is sweeping across the whole of the stadium. Each of the matches had clutch shooting, which is something to remember and something that should be cherished. You are going to be blown away by the incredible abilities and fascinating anecdotes that the NBA demonstrated, all during the 2021 to 2022 season. These shots were produced in the most pressure-packed situations. Pelicans versus Thunder. Around 1 minute and 15 seconds before the finish of the game, Devontae Graham did this because he did not want the game to go into overtime. Here is exactly what he did. He takes a long shot that is aimed towards the hoop, and it ends up being the basket that decides who wins the game. The Charlotte Hornets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. The game was tied for both teams at 125 with 2 seconds remaining. And here, Giannis gets the ball and performs his job. The botched three-point try by the Hornets during the buzzer further underlined the grandeur of the Greek Titan, who were down by 18 at the time. The Warriors versus the Rockets. This game-winning shot is right up there with some of the most clutch three-pointers ever made in the history of the NBA. It brings about the win of the Warriors against the Houston Rockets with a score of 105 to 103, sirens going nuts throughout the arena, and an unbelievable dance by Stephen Curry. Steph Curry unleashed an incredible three-pointer that rocketed through the air and landed with a deafening bang, and with a thundering smash against the basket when it finally came to rest. The LA Lakers versus the Toronto Raptors. The Lakers are behind Toronto by 3 points with just 10 seconds remaining, but the team had Russell Westbrook, who makes a rebound, pass, and a last-second three-point shot. He's incredible, simply a top man all around. What an amazing performance by Westbrook from the corner of the arc, to the point where they're going to check to see whether his toe was on the line because of it. The Bulls versus the Pacers. Even though this was not the first time this season that DeMar DeRozan came through as the savior for the Bulls, considering that the score was 105 to 106 in favor of the Pacers at the time, it was perhaps one of the most dramatic moments. On the other hand, it was an inconsiderate action on their part to analyze the play and the shot to determine whether or not the basket counted before the time limit for the game was reached. The Bulls versus the Wizards. It seemed as if the Wizards were going to pull off the victory, as they were quite close to claiming victory. However, DeMar DeRozan showed great awareness on the court by scoring 3 points just as the buzzer was going off. Bravo! DeMar accomplished another delivery wonderfully, and it was a success. This is what we refer to as an exhibition of the utmost quality by DeMar DeRozan. The Clippers versus the Nuggets. Find out for yourself why Nikola Jokic was chosen as the most valuable player of the whole NBA season by checking out this highlight reel. Nikola's intellect quickly analyzed the situation, as there were just 10 seconds left in the game against the Clippers, and he produced a beautiful pass after the score was knotted at 127. Because of Aaron Gordon's immaculate effort, the Nuggets have taken the lead and are about to go on to win the game, because they had such a wonderful combination of talents. Jokic and Gordon were able to achieve an unbelievable victory. The Clippers versus the Mavericks. It's incomprehensible how Paul George was able to beat the Mavs and send the game into overtime with a three-point shot in the very last second of regulation. It doesn't seem to cause him any trouble to insert it. I pray that the Lord will bless you, Paul George, for taking on the responsibility of the Messiah. Memphis versus Philadelphia. Because of Ja Morant's consistent play on the court, the Grizzlies have not lost interest in him as a potential superstar on their roster. It seems unfathomable that he was able to shoot the ball when he was on the ground and make it through the hoop. Why should we even make any reference to Morant's one pass and dunk that he did in the very last few seconds of the game? It would be quite helpful if you could share your response to the question that was asked. The Spurs versus the Pistons. Incredibly, Walton was able to make a three-pointer for the Pistons by sending a gem of a pass between the legs and scoring the basket in between them. This was a remarkable achievement on Walton's part. It is hard to believe that the game between the San Antonio Spurs and the Detroit Pistons ended with a score of 114 to 116. It was really a surprising outcome. San Antonio served as the host city for the event. In the end, the Spurs were successful and emerged triumphant. The Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. We're going to bring everything to a conclusion with an amazing game-winning shot by Luka Doncic of Dallas. This shot won the game for the Mavericks. With just a few seconds left on the clock, the score was tied at 104. Nevertheless, The two fortunate sevens that Luka wears on his back are there for a reason. The three-pointer siren blasts, and Maverick celebrates their triumph. Is there anything more exhilarating than making clutch shots just before the buzzer goes off? We don't think there is. The Wizards versus the Pistons. Both sides were tied at 116, and each player on both teams was looking for a way to break the stalemate and seize the lead in the game. Kyle Kuzma launches a reverberating three-pointer from the wing that rockets through the air and hits with the power of a rocket ship in the basket. Unbelievable victory party that befits the victor. Sacramento versus Phoenix. Both teams were deadlocked at 107, with precisely 1 minute and 4 seconds left to play in the game. The win for Phoenix was thanks to a beautiful pass delivered by Harrison Barnes to Devin Booker, which Booker then utilized to successfully put the ball in the hoop right near the boundary of the arc circle. This was the decisive play that led to Phoenix's triumph. The degree of professionalism and competence that has been shown here is really of the highest order. The Celtics versus the Knicks. The Celtics were down by 3 points, with the score 113-116. They needed 3 points to tie the game, and they didn't have any. In this instance, the likelihood of there being a tie increased when Jason Tatum made an amusing fall to the ground, after which he tossed the ball towards Dennis Schroeder, who was astute enough to place the ball inside the hoop where it belongs to complete the play. What a dramatic change of events that occurred in the last 3 minutes of the game for the Celtics. The LA Clippers versus the Washington Wizards. Kennard didn't score 8 points in 9 seconds as Reggie Miller did, nor did he do so in a playoff game while playing against a rival that he despised while on the road, but he came very close to doing so. Kennard was able to provide 7 points in the game's closing 9 seconds, which contributed to a record comeback from a deficit of 35 points. With 9 seconds left on the clock, he nailed a three-pointer from 32 feet out to trim the Washington Wizards' lead down to 3. Then, after the Wizards were called for a violation of the 5-second clock, he made another three-point shot while drawing a foul with 1.9 seconds left on the clock. The game was won by his successful free throw. This sure is some impossible shooting by some incredible players. Imagine what the next season will bring. Who do you think will deliver some awesome plays next year?